caught the Rona. I never thought that I'd be a part of the pandemic. I always thought it would pass and I'd be fine just because I was wearing my mask when I went out. And when I came home, I was taking off my clothes immediately, showering, washing my hands. I did everything right. And it only took one person to come in contact with me that had it. And then I was exposed and I contracted it. So in this video, I'll be telling you about my symptoms, my recovery, and what I did at home. Thank God my case wasn't too severe. And my body, my immune system was strong enough to fight it off. So thank God for that. And let's get into the video. You're probably like, Ari, what the heck? How did you get it? Well, let me explain. So I had to make a doctor's appointment. There was a couple things I was concerned about, and it was time that I stopped pushing them aside. Just get it taken care of, make sure everything was normal. So I made an appointment, and the doctor ended up calling me back. Hey, we have this time, and if you don't come in now, we don't have any appointments for months and months. And I was like, so at this point, I was like, you know what, I'll just take the appointment time because I don't want to wait months to get in. So I came in contact with 3 people, the doctor, the nurse, and the phlebotomist. If you don't know what a phlebotomist is, it's the person who takes your blood. So I sat like this in the doctor's office. If you don't know me, well, I'm a little bit of a germaphobe, just a little bit. And so I sat like this the entire time. And the only time I took off my mask was when the doctor came in to check me out. I didn't come in contact with any other people, no other patients, no other doctors, just one doctor, one nurse, and one phlebotomist, that's it. So in that hour period, I was exposed, and that's so crazy to me how it only takes like one person. So the appointment that I had set was the end of June, and I didn't start feeling the symptoms until about the 4th or 5th of July. So that was about a 2-week period, maybe 15 days. So the first symptom that I had was congestion, and I didn't think much of it because I have asthma. So I was like, oh, I'm probably gonna have an asthma attack. I'm not gonna worry about it. Take a shower and I'll go to sleep. So I woke up the next day, and this is July 5th, and I was feeling like I had the flu, like just kind of drowsy, and you know, I didn't want to wake up and do anything. I was just laying around, and that wasn't normal for me. So I texted a friend. I was like, hey, can you pray for me? I feel like I have the flu, and isn't it like the flu to show up in the middle of a pandemic? Or so I thought it was the flu. The next couple days passed, that Tuesday, that Wednesday, still feeling the same. That Wednesday I had developed like a cough, and it was pretty persistent, but again, I have asthma, so I didn't think anything of it. I was like, you know what, it's just kind of getting weird, but I'll just wait it out another day. So I wake up Thursday, July 9th, and I couldn't smell or taste anything, and I Googled it, and that was one of the main symptoms for COVID, and I was like, oh God, like help me. So I'm like Googling it. I'm having people like Google it with me. Maybe they'll find a testing site that I can go get tested. I didn't find anywhere, and I waited a little while, and I finally found a place. It was like 5 minutes down the road from my house. So I go, and of course there's a long line. At this point, I'm like, if I don't have Corona now, I'm definitely gonna get it from standing in this line. The lady in front of me looked like she was about to pass out. You know, they had people standing out in the hot, like in the heat, and I was just like, dang, like this is not okay. At this point, like I wasn't feeling great, but I definitely had enough energy to do stuff. So I just waited in that line, and everyone was getting impatient. And the lady came out, the nurse, and she was like, you know, we're gonna take a 30-minute break, and everyone got impatient and they left. So that was kind of like a blessing, because I'm like, I didn't want to wait here all day, and it's hot. But she came out, and then people left, and I was like the 4th one in line after everyone had left. So I was nervous, I'm not gonna lie, but everyone, you know, was making it to where everyone was talking to each other, and it wasn't anything to where like, oh my God, stay away from me. We were all there for the same reason, and I think it was good. I can honestly see like through this, communities definitely coming together, so I love that. And in that line, people started to come back, and they were definitely angry because somebody told them like, hey, if you get out of line, you're not gonna be able to get the same spot back. So we go up. At this point, they give you a number, and then they're like, you know, have your ID ready. They take a picture with your form, which I'd never seen before. I was like, okay. So from there, they prick your finger, and they put it on like a little antibody test, and it looks like a pregnancy test. I've never thought I was pregnant before, but I know what they look like. So it looks like one of the little cheap ones. I'll insert a picture if I can find it. So from there, you wait, like you're literally staring at your antibody test, like I could probably have corona right now, or I've had it previously and like it'll tell me right now. So I'm like Googling it, trying to see what like a positive antibody test looks like, and it said no, like I didn't have it. And I was like, okay, good. I haven't had corona previously. So at that point I was like, okay, I'm kind of reassured, like maybe I don't have it. And I get up to the doctor and she's like, so why are you here if your antibody test says you don't have it before? And I was like, well, I have all the symptoms and I have asthma, so I need to know if I'm putting myself in danger or if I have it. And I was just kind of like, okay, like, what do you mean, why am I here? Like, obviously to get tested, you know? So from there, she's like, okay, well, we're just gonna test you anyway with the nasal swab. And I was like, okay. She's like, it's gonna feel like when you get chlorine in your nose from the pool. It did not feel like that. Now, it's not as dramatic as everyone's making it out to be. Like, it just feels like pressure. Now, it's definitely up in here that they all put the swab, like, all the way up there. But it wasn't anything, like, super painful, like I'm gonna cry about it, you know? So from there, after I got the test done, she said, we will be giving you a call in 5 to 7 days, which I had already seen, like, on the news. That's, like, the amount of time that they need. So I was like, okay, that's fine. So then I left, and from there, Friday, I got a little bit worse and I started to develop a fever. And that weekend was probably the worst of it. I'd say I have breathing treatments at home. So I started to do those, and it got to the point where I wouldn't be able to lay down for too long. So I had to sleep with my head elevated, and you know, like, that's not comfortable. So it was just a weird situation. And again, like, it was something that I had never felt before. Even though I do have asthma, the congestion was different, the cough was different. It felt like with the congestion, there was no like mucus or boogers. It was just dry. And I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. That's something I've never experienced before. So I definitely knew something was up. So that week passed, another week passed. I had headache. My eyes were hurting. I didn't know why. I'm like, I wear glasses, so maybe it's just that. Let me just wear my glasses. It was not the fact that I needed to wear my glasses. It was, again, a headache I had never felt before, and it definitely started to scare me. So with all of these symptoms, it's different for everyone, but I feel like sometimes stuff is meant to scare us. And that's why I was doubting so much. You know, I texted a couple friends like, hey, can you pray for me? Like, these symptoms are getting worse and I'm kind of scared. And some of them were like, you're being dramatic, you're fine. And the other ones were like, no, dude, like, you need to take care of yourself. You're probably right. You probably do have it. And at this point, I was like, I don't know what to believe. Some people are telling me I have it. Some people are telling me I'm not. Like, what do I believe? Like, I don't even know at this point. But all of these symptoms, I was just kind of like, oh no, what the heck? So from there, from the headache, that next week, so this is the second week, and I still hadn't received any of my testing results. And I'm like, hey, I get it. I had called the number that was on the paper. Hey, I know like Arizona's a hot spot right now, but can you give me like a little update on where my results are or how much longer you think it would take? And of course, you don't want to be rude to these people. They're just doing their job. They probably have thousands of people calling. You don't ever want to be rude or disrespectful on the phone because they're just trying to help you out. You know what I mean? They don't have to answer your call. So she's like, you know, I'll see if I can get back to you tomorrow. That didn't happen. Here we are, and it's like, what, the end of July already? I don't even know. It's like the 30th. Yes, it's the 30th. Had to check that out real quick, make sure my dates were right. That's a perfect representation of not knowing what day it is when you're quarantined. So I didn't get the results until July 28th. So you can see that time period where I was just like, what am I doing? Can y'all like send me the results already? So at this point I was getting a little bit impatient. I was just like, God, I don't even know. You know, I'm thinking, I don't even know if I have it, and if I have it, how do I treat it? Because it wasn't so severe that I had to be hospitalized for it, so there's probably nothing I can do. And then if I don't have it, I need to figure out why I'm sick, why I have a fever, why I have all these symptoms, and I can't even go to the doctor because I don't have it, so I'm gonna expose myself. You know what I mean? So it was just that like in between, like I don't know what to do. And going back to the last symptom, so it was a headache, and then that next week I started to feel very achy, and It was to the point where I didn't want to move because I know if I moved, like, it would just hurt even more. And I remember waking up one night and it was like 3 in the morning and I was crying. That was awful. I don't even want to remember that, but that was probably the worst of it. So it's different for everyone depending on your body and like what conditions you have, or if you don't have any conditions. It just depends on your body. My symptoms started out with congestion, then the cough, the loss of taste and smell, the fever, and then what was next? Oh, shortness of breath was like that weekend, and I started to do breathing treatments, and then like the headache and the body aches. And the only 2 symptoms that I didn't have, thank God, were vomiting and diarrhea. I hate, like, I don't like it. So I'm very grateful that my body was able to fight it off and it wasn't too severe. So again, to recap, I had gone in the end of June. I started feeling the symptoms on the 4th or 5th of July, and I got tested on the 9th of July, and I didn't get the results until the 28th of July. So there was a pretty big gap there where I was just waiting. To recap the symptoms, it started out with congestion, which was like a dry congestion, no mucus, then a cough, and then the loss of taste and smell, the fever, the shortness of breath, and a headache, and then the body aches, and that's about it. Obviously, like, you feel tired with all that. So the only symptoms, again, I'm so glad I didn't have, was vomiting and diarrhea. That's probably the worst when you're sick, because then you feel like, you can't eat and you don't want to eat because it's just gonna all come out. So what's the point, So I'm super grateful for that. Throughout this whole process, you definitely need patience. You definitely need to just take it one day at a time because it can get very stressful. Okay, so number 1 at-home remedy for your body, just in general, anytime you're sick, stay hydrated. You definitely want to stay hydrated. It makes you feel 10 times better. And honestly, from most of the cases that I've seen, a lot of people are saying, like, I don't have any energy. And there was definitely days where I did feel like I'm sleeping all day, I'm not going to do anything else. But within that sleeping, you need to wake up and make sure you're hydrated so that your body does have at least something to keep it hydrated. Number 2 at-home remedy is something for your fever. You can use a t-shirt, a washcloth, a towel, whatever you have around the house to keep your fever down. You want to put it on the back of your neck, make sure you have some cool water, and just put it on your forehead to make sure that you keep your fever down. Because once your fever hits, like, I think it's like 102, it starts to get really dangerous and damaging to your brain, in case you didn't know that. And you're probably like, what even is a fever? Like, yeah, my temperature spikes, but what is it? It's just a sign of infection. It's a good thing. It sometimes helps your body like fight off infection, and it does make you feel really tired. So you want to make sure you keep your temperature down. Another thing that you can do for your fever is obviously take some over-the-counter medication. You don't know what works for you until you try a few things out. So I know for me, I could not take ibuprofen while I was sick. I don't know why, but I specifically remember one night I had taken ibuprofen and it made me feel like 10 times worse. And I was like, wow, I can't take that for some reason, which is not normally the case. If I have a headache or something, I would take an ibuprofen and it'd be fine. But for this specifically, I couldn't take ibuprofen. So you definitely want to make sure you are careful about what you take and put in your body while you are sick or you suspect you have COVID. Just be careful. So you can take Tylenol or, like Dayquil, whatever you can, or whatever you can find, because I know a lot of places are like out of a lot of medication. So be careful what you put in your body, but definitely try and like just do what you can to keep your fever down. So the next thing is your breathing. And this symptom is kind of hard to control sometimes, especially if you're at home and you don't have asthma or you don't have a breathing treatment around, you don't have an inhaler. So what are you gonna do? Well, keep yourself elevated. For me, it was harder to lay down for a long period of time. So I would just keep myself elevated. I would sit up most of the day, and when I would sleep, I would keep myself elevated, which is not comfortable, but it definitely did help. So if your case is moderate like mine, you don't want to put yourself in even more danger and expose yourself even more. Now, if it gets to a point where you definitely can't breathe, then obviously go to the hospital, but you don't want to expose yourself to more infection by going to a contaminated area. so far for the recovery process or healing process, we have covered hydration, your fever, and your breathing. Now, the next one, you can't really do much while you're sick. So you definitely need to rest. And I know you're gonna have days where you're like, I wanna get up and do stuff. I need to be productive. You don't wanna do too much. Your body needs to rest. Your body needs to heal. It's trying to fight off an infection. So you definitely need to take it slow. Take it day by day. And as much as you hate it, you need to be still, lay down, and just chill out. Don't do the most, because then you're just gonna get worse and you're gonna feel worse. And what's the point in that? So the next two things, the fever or the chills and the body aches, there's not much you can do for the body aches and the chills. I did use a heating pad, but with that you have to be careful because of your fever. You don't want it to spike even more. So it was an impossible situation at this point, and I was just like, dang. But it definitely did help to use the heating pad for like your muscle aches. And if you don't have a heating pad, I learned this from YouTube, get a sock, and if you have rice, you can put the rice in it, twist it at the end, tie it up with a rubber band, and put it in the microwave. Super helpful, super easy if you have rice, a sock, and a rubber band. And there you go, there's your heating pad. So there are definitely ways that you can recover at home, and everyone is different. Everybody's body definitely reacts differently, and I thought because I have asthma, I'm definitely going to be hospitalized if I do get it, and that wasn't the case. Thankfully, I'm young enough and my body is healthy enough. My immune system is strong enough that I was able to fight it off, so I'm super grateful and thankful that my body was just where I needed it to be for this specific virus, and everyone who prayed for me, I'm super thankful for you guys as well. So the last thing or recovery tip that I have is definitely take your time. And I know for me, I like to be up. I like to do things. I don't like to be laying in one position the entire day, but that's what it took for my body to heal. I definitely had to rest. And don't listen to other people when it comes to your body. You know your body the best, and you know what you can take and what you can't take. And I know for me, everyone's like, you're being dramatic. You know, you need to just get up and do something. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. And that's the worst, because you have people telling you this and you're like, but I feel like crap. I know I need to sit down and like chill out. So listen to yourself and take your time. Don't try to rush your body to heal, because it's just not gonna happen, and you're gonna get even worse. You're gonna feel worse, and you're just gonna be sick for even longer. So there's no point in doing that. So definitely rest and take your time, and don't scare yourself. Because I know me, the entire time that I was waiting for these results, I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do if I have it. I don't know what I'm gonna do if I don't have it. Watching videos of people who have it, I mean, yeah, like if you have it or you think you have it, definitely do your research and like do what you have to do, quarantine yourself. But don't overload yourself, because that's when you start to worry yourself and you start to get discouraged, and you're like, I'm seeing so many people with this virus, so many people are dying, so many people this, so many people that, and it gets so toxic, and that's not necessary. Now, don't get me wrong, it was definitely hard staying away from my family. You know, I was in my room for a long time and I only came out to go to the bathroom, and if I needed to go to the kitchen for water or whatever, I would have to wear a mask. I would have to like not touch anything. And so it was very difficult not being able to go out, but you know that it's necessary so that nobody else contracts this virus, because it can be deadly depending on the person and their immune system. So you definitely want to be careful, and if you do go out, make sure you're not around a giant group of people, because like in my case, I came in contact with 3 people and one of those 3 had it, and thankfully my body was able to fight it off. But if my body wasn't able to fight it off, it could have ended very badly. So just be careful. So this is the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Super grateful for all the people who reached out to me and who encouraged me and stayed in contact with me constantly throughout this whole process. Through this pandemic, you will definitely see the people who show their true colors and who are really there for you, or who will throw you in the dirt. So make sure you're surrounding yourself with people that you can trust and go to in the tough times, but also like stay with in the good times as well. Support isn't seasonal, like it shouldn't be seasonal, but sometimes that's how it is, and your relationships will eventually reveal themselves. So with that being said, let me just wrap up in prayer, and that'll be it. Father God, we come before you right now as humble servants of you with grateful hearts that you have allowed us to live another day. We thank you and we praise you because you are the breath in our lungs. And we realize that there are some people who are laying in a hospital bed lifeless, who have machines breathing for them. But God, if it's your will, you send your healing power to them in the mighty name of Jesus, because by the stripes, we are healed. It also says where there are 2 or 3 gathered in your name, you will be there. So I'm in agreement with the other person on the side of this screen, whether it be for their family members, their friends, or for themselves, that no weapon formed against us shall prosper. God, whatever we are battling with right now, that we surrender ourselves to you so that you can immerse us not only in your presence, but your healing. It says in Psalms 91, 1,000 may fall at my side, 10,000 at my right hand, but it shall not come near me. And although thousands have died from this, God, I am declaring right now that we are safe and we are healed in you. God, we thank and we praise you because your miracles are not only confined to one building, but where we call your name, your presence will be. I know that the enemy works in isolation, and I'm calling it out, and I'm praying for peace right now. I know that you have prepared a table for me in the presence of my enemies. So if this is a table that you have prepared for me right now, I will take a seat because I know that you sit with me. In Jesus' name, I declare peace. God, I pray for our government officials. Although these are the positions that you have appointed them, we know that you have the ultimate control. That we will have peace with whatever decisions they will make. And we know that these are the end times, but God, we trust you. I thank you and I praise you for what you're about to do, for the breakthrough and the joy that we're about to see. Thank you for immersing us wherever we are in your presence. God, you'll move, continue to move, and we've seen you move. I thank you and I praise you. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.